Hello and welcome to NSCC's eCampus Open House. I'd like to thank you for your interest in NSCC's funeral service program offerings, funeral and allied health services, and funeral arranging and directing. I am Lisa Smith, faculty for both programs. Over the next few minutes, I'll share some information with you about both NSCC funeral program offerings. I'll cover apprenticeship requirements, admission requirements, program and college requirements. What's important to know about both programs? Enrolled students are registered funeral director and/or embalmer apprentices, depending on the program, by provincial funeral service licensing boards in Atlantic Canada. NSCC students are able to complete their program courses offered in Brightspace and their apprenticeship requirements as set out by the Provincial Licensing Board and provincial legislation simultaneously during the two-year program. Most apprentices are employed by funeral homes where they're receiving apprenticeship training. Delivery for these online courses is asynchronous, meaning that students do not need to log into their courses at a particular time. However, there are Microsoft Teams meetings that are scheduled throughout the semester that provide students with an opportunity to connect with each other and with faculty in real time, and to benefit from funeral sector specialists' sessions that are scheduled throughout the semester. For asynchronous delivery programs, it's important that each course includes a tentative course work plan that outlines the topics that will be covered each week in the semester, as well as an outline of assignments and submission dates. There's lots of opportunities for engagement with other students through discussion forums, and some of the evaluations include quizzes and tests. Feedback is provided in Brightspace. There are written assignments and case studies for submission, learning activities and challenge activities that students will participate in and engage with other students through the Brightspace platform, goal setting assignments, particularly for the applied learning courses, reflective exercises, mentor assessments, and applied learning practicum reports that are completed and submitted as part of the applied learning practicum courses. This is a course map for funeral and allied health services. As you can see, there are 3 semesters in each year of the two-year program. Courses cover topics in embalming and funeral directing, and courses that are specific to funeral directing are also covered in the curriculum for funeral arranging and directing. Information about both programs can be accessed through the NSCC website program web pages. This is the web page for funeral and allied health services. You can see that there is a navigation bar that includes tabs with information about admission requirements, tuition for the two-year program, as well as a list of courses. From the Admissions tab, you'll learn about the admission requirements for each program. A high school graduation diploma or equivalent is required, a valid Class 5 driver's license, and a confirmation letter from a funeral home where the applicant has secured an apprenticeship. It's important to note that although both programs are open to receive applications from students from Atlantic Canada, that students from New Brunswick who will be apprenticing in New Brunswick must apply to funeral and allied health services, as the provincial legislation requires that they apprentice as both funeral director and embalmer apprentices. If you have not secured position with a funeral home and you don't have a connection with a funeral home as an applicant, I would encourage you to reach out to a funeral home and arrange to meet with a funeral director to discuss a career in funeral services. This is a great first step when considering a career in this sector. Although a funeral home observation period is not a requirement for application, it will help program applicants to make an informed decision about funeral directing and/or embalming as a career. A funeral home observation period may extend over a week or set hours over a period of weeks so that the applicant can fully appreciate the roles, responsibilities, and expectations of professional practices for funeral directors and embalmers. At the start of the program, enrolled students are required to provide proof of application for registration for apprenticeship or the apprenticeship license if already issued from the specific provincial licensing board for embalmers and funeral directors where you will be completing your apprenticeship. A current official criminal record check and vulnerable sector check may be required for registration as an apprentice. It's important to be aware that a conviction may impact your ability to not only complete program requirements, but to become registered as an apprentice and eventually to become licensed as an embalmer or funeral director. So you're encouraged to contact the provincial licensing board in your province to learn about apprenticeship and licensing requirements. All programs in Health and Human Services require first aid CPR as a graduation requirement, and specifically for funeral service programs, emergency first aid and CPR level C is required, vulnerable sector check, all immunizations, and the SAFE 1000 and SAFE 1001 courses that must be completed before September 30th. Thank you for viewing the Funeral Service Programs video. If you still have questions, you're welcome to email program faculty at lisa.smith@nscc.ca.